Your soul chooses your life's major themes. Your life can be thought of as an exploration of several major and a number of minor themes that unfolds over the time that you live. Each of your soul's other lives spread out along the Earth timeline are to be thought of in the same way. What is happening behind the scenes is that each soul chooses a set of life themes to explore over the course of many lives as their vehicles for learning to make choices and deal with the results, as described above, in order to learn to turn fearful motivations into loving ones. And so it is true that the major themes of your life are in common with other lives that your soul is living elsewhere on the Earth timeline. Your soul is observing how the same themes are approached by its manifestations in a variety of lives defined by the numerous variables of personality, genetics, and conditioning, as explored in the previous section. Whatever the life theme, it is approached by numerous manifestations of the soul, you and your soul's other lives, within many different contexts. In some lives, the theme is explored when there is a lot of money and resources available to the person, and other lives when there is not. With the same person, the theme chosen by his or her soul is played out when the person's skin color puts him or her in the majority and perhaps leads to privilege, and in other lives, in the minority, which perhaps leads to less or a lack of privilege. That very same theme in some lives is explored by humans as men and in other lives as women, as homosexual and heterosexual, smart and not so smart, trusting in life and not trusting in life, and so on. When your conscious mind begins to grasp the enormity of what is going on from the point of view of soul, it can begin to get a little overwhelming. Your linear logical mind is not outfitted by default to be able to work with such a high number of variables, and so it is important to note that you need not work with or hold all of them in conscious awareness at the same time. What matters is this. As your life revolves around certain major and minor themes, all of your soul's lives revolve around those same themes. The themes are approached by the different manifestations of your soul in different ways using different personalities and conditioning. This is so that soul can experience the wide variety of examples of humans exploring that theme, so that it can learn as much as possible about how and why humans make choices and, ultimately, learn about becoming the source of love. Consider what seem major themes in your life. Perhaps you have a thing about safety and security, or a need for respect. Perhaps you feel urgency about expressing creativity or your ideas. Or maybe you know about yourself that you have a hard time making the right choices for yourself and or accepting that everything works out in the end. It could be instead that you are seeking something from others that seem impossible to find. Think of the content of your emotional life. What seems to weigh on you persistently and be on your mind and in your heart that might not ever feel fully resolved, and, chances are, you are looking at least some of the major themes your soul has set out for you to teach it how and why a person makes choices. You can also view your thoughts and feelings about your genetics or background, ethnic, religious, national, etc., and they will tell you something about these themes set out for you by your soul. Whatever it is that's in your life, including early life experience and conditioning, indicates what has been set out by your soul for you as a human to explore in order to learn to make choices and deal with results. Another layer of this is to view your reactions to any and all context from past and present that have shaped or are shaping you now. These thoughts, feelings, and reactions will also tell you about what your soul has set out for you. Essentially, if it is important and formative for you, your soul has set that in motion so that it can learn through how you express your free will and deal with the results of those choices. It is at this point that I wish to point out to you that this includes the areas of life and situations to which you have deep and abiding aversion. All that is in your life that stays or lingers represents experiences by which your soul intends that you become confronted so that you have opportunities to learn to make the right sorts of choices in response. For the most part, humans do not like to feel pain, and so will avoid it. But it is also true that things that confuse you create tension that can turn into pain. So even if you are willing to be aware of painful situations in order to work through them, how long are you willing to exist within the tension of confusion that creates ongoing and deepening pain? Not many of you are willing to do this before really getting just how important it is to work through what is painful. To create willingness to do so, it is important to understand the logic according to which your soul operates, which determines much of what comes to you in life.